Welcome to the Society. Today, I'm going to teach you how to take even better care of your cards. That's why I'm the devoted caretaker.
And I'm Narrow Escape.
Desiccant packs.
Part 2 of our card self-care line of videos.
Yeah. As you can see, desiccant packs, or silica gel packs, they come in many different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, you got small ones, big honking ones, little weird thin ones.
Now, chances are some of you have already used these in your deck boxes to keep everything nice and dry.
I mean, it makes total sense. They come with like food items like tortillas and shoes and other things you don't want wet to keep them dry in shipping. So why not use them to keep your cards dry?
Pretty sure Oxysorbers come with tortillas and not silica gel packets.
No, it's definitely silica gel packets.
Nah, I mean, I don't think so, but we can put a pin in that for now.
The tortillas, in fact, the tortillas I ate gave me this one. That may or may not be a lie.
Why does it need so much moisture absorption?
They're wet tortillas.
Oh, God. Coincidentally, these may be harboring something you don't know, a dirty little secret.
What's that secret?
That each one of these don't last forever.
No, it's true. They only last about 75 years.
That's not even close at all. That's not even close at all.
How long do they last?
It really depends on the environment. Here in New England, not long. That being said, depending where you live, you've been keeping these in your deck box and going, hey, I'm keeping all my cards nice and dry and good. But
the problem is you've been, keeping damp garbage with your cards.
Just wet garbage. Mm-hmm. Just keeping it in with your deck box. And you thought you were doing a good thing, but you actually, these hold a certain amount of moisture. They can only hold a certain amount of moisture before they stop doing their job. So you have a bunch in there and you go, oh, okay, well, I'm doing a good job. And then you realize that they just hold moisture and you've actually been hurting everything. So that being said, those are all trash. Those live on the floor now. What you can do is grab some of these.
These are really nice. You can not only see through them to see the actual beads, but they're resilient, they're sturdy, and as you can see, they're dry and dry. What does that mean?
So, more importantly, these are color changing.
Interesting.
So, when they're fresh, they will resemble a dark blue color, actually even darker than these, because these have been revitalized, which we'll get to in a second. These silica packs are dark blue when they start and become a light pink when they are fully saturated.
Oh, okay.
And, even better, you can reactivate these by either microwaving them or putting them in the oven, as long as you follow the instructions on the bag here.
So you just need to really apply some sort of way to pull the moisture out of there, some sort of heat, like a fire or like a magnifying glass in the sun.
I mean, I suppose in theory, if we were cave people, we could use that method. But we could just follow the instructions with the microwave and the oven is fine. And the nice thing about these is you actually have a visual indication of what your humidity level is wherever you store your cards. Which is why these are my preferred method, and actually the Lotus Society's preferred method as well.
That's true. We're going to dive into storage next, and I think you'll see that we get a little bit crazy with these, but...
I mean, it's true. But in the end, not only are Magic cards fun to play with, some of the cards get very expensive, a lot of which we didn't even necessarily buy at those expensive prices, but we've just been playing long enough where they've matured into expensive cards.
It's no surprise that Magic is an investment. Whether or not you play it just to play it, or you invest in it to keep your finances in some sort of fun cardboard that the government doesn't regulate.
Yeah.
You're going to want to keep them safe.
True. So that being said, storage. So we go a little crazy with storage here. We have our custom Lotus Society boxes.
Yeah, this is nothing you can buy at any store. This is something that you need to earn through blood, sweat. No, he just built it.
Yeah, I did build these boxes. And maybe one day we'll have one go available. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, if there's enough demand. Yeah.
But as of right now, there's only 2 of these that exist. This is the obfuscators. Just to give you an idea of how we store our cards. So, as you can see, it's kind of a briefcase style wood. 2 brass latches.
And a whole bunch of decks.
And some decks. So you got your playmat, your decks. You have a lot of tokens, some dice.
Got a whole bunch of spin downs.
Now, we were talking about, desiccant packs and how we liked the ones that have color changing. It's not only nice for you to tell where you're at, but let's see where you're at.
Like I said, we go a little crazy with these desiccant packs.
So, as you can see, it looks like these ones have finally turned. We gotta reset these. But we have these affixed to the lid, just with Velcro.
Yeah, so you can take it off whenever you need it.
Put it on. And this is an airflow fabric, or foam rather. So basically not only does it keep the cards and dice from wiggling around in there, but it allows basically a small micro atmosphere within the deck box.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but if you look close here, there's a little divot cut inside with some silicone filled in so that it can create as much of a seal as possible to keep as much moisture from the outside air from coming in. However, these are pink. Every time you open up the box, you break that seal, so you're going to allow moisture in.
Yeah. But it's as easy as just resetting these, which, these were good, a couple days ago?
Yeah.
So it's about time to redo them. We
Exactly.
do tend to play a lot of Magic. So, but that's essentially how we store our cards.
Yeah. Now, speaking of storing individual cards and decks, how do you like the orientation that I have here with these?
Well, personally, this is my preferred orientation for the cards.
Yeah, I find it easy to kind of reach in, pull out what you need, be able to slide it back in.
Yeah.
It keeps it nice and uniform.
Not only that, but let's rotate some of these. If you had your decks upright like this, for me personally, I feel like every time I've had decks stored this way, I've always ended up with crumbs or dust or just general something ends up going into the tops of the sleeves, and then they work their way down into the sleeve, and then I see it, and all of a sudden in the middle of a game I'm like, hold on a second, and I'm reaching in there trying to fish out whatever it is.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I like storing my cards on their sides, because then if something gets in there, as soon as you lift the deck out and start shuffling, it just falls to the floor. That's just a personal preference. It's not, the be-all, end-all of how you store your cards.
Yeah. Now, let's think back to our last video. Remember the water test we did?
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if, say, we took that bowl of water and poured it inside here?
Well, the first thing would happen would be this inner liner here would absorb the water. That would be the step 1. Now, the inside of this box is all fully finished, so the wood wouldn't accept any of the water. So the box itself wouldn't be damaged, but the liner would start soaking up the water. This was done on purpose so that if it really came down to it and it was let's say soda, something really sticky that we couldn't get out of this, we could reline the box.
Makes sense.
Worst case scenario. But we did this on purpose so that it absorbs kind of like a wick, getting it away from the cards, because ultimately even rebuilding this box from scratch is cheaper than replacing every single deck in this box.
That is true.
May not be true for everyone's deck library, but
Lotus Society runs some classic vintage and legacy decks.
Yeah, we have some expensive decks, and we definitely like to keep them safe. So this is how we store our cards. Now, that being said, there are some other rules we adhere to, and those being temperature. So being in New England, it gets both very cold and surprisingly hot and humid. Yeah. We get pretty much everything.
Yeah, exactly. It can be moist and humid one day, and then arid and dry the next day.
Yeah. Arid and dry is generally not a problem, but with even this box, the reason we have them with the rubber gaskets in here is to keep the humidity out, but also I don't leave my deck box in my car for more than one reason. A, the value, but B, if it gets really cold, my personal deck collection has a lot of foils. Pretty much as many foils as I can get. If the cards were never made in foil, then I don't have them in foil, but everything I can have is pretty much in foil. And cold is not...
ruins foil.
Yeah. It definitely really damages the foiling.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Especially with the From the Vault series foilings.
Yeah, those things curl up like crazy.
Yeah, although they look gorgeous.
They're gorgeous, but the curling is definitely a problem, and that's why you really need to take extra measures to take care of them.
Yeah, and I would say another note on storage is you may notice how there's not much space. These decks they're not super tight. There's a little wiggle.
A little wiggle, yeah.
But for the most part, they're snug enough in there where no extreme curling can take place. They're kind of held in a straight form.
Exactly.
Which is another thing I find to be important when keeping cards for the long haul. Because this box, I could put this in the closet and store the cards for long term, especially if I have freshly recharged desiccant packs here.
Yeah.
Which currently we don't, but that's... what, half an hour in the oven, we're back to normal on that.
Exactly.
So
yeah, the maintenance is really simple on this stuff.
We have anything else to add? Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you like how we store the cards? Did you find this series useful? We have some other ideas that maybe we'll share with you, but let us know if you thought this was useful to you.
Yeah, we have some experiments we want to run, and I think we're going to revisit this video series in the future, maybe 6 months from now, when it gets close to the summertime.
Yeah.
We're going to run some experiments about leaving cards in the car, leaving them in a window with hot days and the UV rays from the sun.
Yeah.
What happens if you cook them?
Yeah, what happens if we fill your car with hot garbage and just put your cards in there?
Exactly. So yeah, we're going to try those experiments and see what happens.
So, till next time, keep them salty.
Tap them down.